Hello guys, welcome back to SOL Edu Migration's YouTube channel. My name is Tin. I'm the General Manager and Registered Migration Agent here at SOL Edu Migration. Welcome back to our channel. In tonight's topic, I will be talking about a very breaking news which is related to the federal budget, which was just announced 2 days ago by the Australian Treasurer. But before we start talking about the federal budget for financial year 2022 to 2023, I would like to give you a bit updates for what's happening in Australia for this month. So in March this year, we have some quite breaking news updates relating to the migration policies as well as state nomination for this financial year. So first of all is for the PR pathway announced for those who are holding 457 or 482 TSS visa, but they're in the short-term stream. So they will be eligible to apply for 1A6 ENS PR pathway if they can meet certain requirements. So basically, first of all, those visa holders must be in Australia between 1st of February 2020 to 14th of December 2021. They must be in Australia for at least 12 months during that period. So this is the first requirement. Secondly, they need to still meet the requirement for the 1A6 visa for the working experience, for the English, for the age, as well as for the sponsor's nomination obligation and the nomination criteria. So this is the first breaking news in March. Secondly, the Australian government just announced from 14th of April, then any incoming visitors, no matter you're holding a visitor visa, student visa, or working visa, then no PCR test will be required. No PCR test will be required, but of course you need to be fully vaccinated by one of the recognized vaccines by the Australian government. So this is the second update. Number 3, it will be tonight's topic for the federal budget just announced 2 days ago for financial year 2022 to 2023. So for some of you, you might not know what is the budget, what is the federal budget. So this is the documents or proposal from the Australian government planned for next year and probably for the long-term goal they would like to achieve. So within the federal budget, they include different part of policies, including tax, including income, including migration. So what we'll be discussing tonight will be focusing on the migration parts. So what will be changed for the financial year 2022 to 2023. And in Australia, we start the financial year every year from 1st of July. So the financial year 2022 to 2023 will start from 1st of July 2022, which will be like 3 months later. And the last update is for some of you might be curious about the employment situation or the labor force in Australia currently under the post-COVID situation. The good news is Australians' unemployment rate falls to only 4%, which is the lowest for the past 13 years. So this is a very good news. If you would like to come to Australia to work, then it might be quite easy for you to find a job nowadays in Australia because we are kind of lacking labor force in almost every industry. Okay, so this is the summary of the news updates for this month before we talk about tonight's topic, federal budget for financial year 2022 to 2023. But before I start, I just want to give you a quick update for the state nomination allocation that DHA just announced yesterday for the update. So earlier last year, like 1st of July last year, they have set up the allocation for each state for the visa subclass 190 and 491. But after 9 months, they just updated yesterday based on the needs from some states. So there will be some changes for some states. Majority are from Queensland, Western Australia, and South Australia. So for Queensland, we have increased the 190 visa quota for this financial year. It's this financial year, which means like we still have 3 months to go. So we have received additional 180 quotas for visa subclass 190, but for visa subclass 491, Queensland has decreased from 1,250 to only 950. So this is based on the Migration Queensland Department's needs, and probably they have received more EOIs for visa subclass 190. That's why they requested additional allocation from the federal government, and they have approved for additional 180. Okay. So let's move on to tonight's topic, the federal budget for financial year 2022 and 2023. So I will be talking about the overview about the migration quotas for financial year 2022 to 2023 for skill streams and for family streams. And I will also talk more detailedly about the skill visas, about what has been changed, what has been increased or decreased, and what I feel or what I predict the trend for the next financial year. And family visas and some advice if you are preparing to get PR, permanent residency in Australia for next financial year, what probably you need to do before making any decision. And I will come to the Q&A section if you have any question. But of course, during my presentation, if you have any question, just feel free to type in the chat box, then I can answer your question during the Q&A section. So let's have a look at the overview for the amounts of quotas for migration that Australian government aims for financial year 2022 to 2023. So it remains the same for this financial year 2021 to 2022, which is 160,000 in total for all visa subclasses, no matter it's family stream or skill stream. So this remains the same as this financial year, which is 160,000. But they have made some changes for the allocation to skill visas and family visas. So they allocated more visa to the skill stream, which included employer sponsor, general skill migration, global talent independence, and regional visas. So this is the good news, kind of good news for applicants who are looking for skill visas. Okay. So this is the summary of the changes compared to this financial year. So we can see most of the skill visas have been increased, including employer sponsor, which has increased 36%. For skill independent, subclass 189, it has nearly tripled for the quotas. It increased from 6,500 to 16K. And for regional, it increased double, which is 25K for the new financial year. And for state or territory nomination, it has increased as well, nearly 80% to 20K. And for distinguished talent, it increased 50% from 200 to 300. But amount of skill visa, two different visa types have dropped. One is the Business Innovation Investment Program, so which is the investment visas. It has decreased 30% down to 9,500 for the new financial year. And for Global Talent Visa, it decreased 44% to around 8,400. So this is the summary for Skill Visa. We can see the biggest winner is for 189 Skill Independent Visa. But I'm not that optimistic. I will tell you the reason. I will analyze the situation and probably you will know the reason why I'm not that optimistic about the 189 skill independent visa for new financial year. And among family stream, partner visa has decreased the quota a lot from 72K to only 40K. So it has decreased 44% compared to this financial year. But for parent visa, it has been increased from 4,500 to 6,000. So there was some good news and some not good news. But if you are looking for family visas, you don't need to be worried too much, because if you meet the criteria, you can just submit the application as normal, unlike the skill visas, because for the skill visas, most of them you need to wait for the invitation, wait for the nomination, so the processing time, you might not be able to predict when you will receive the nomination or invitation. So this is the kind of small difference compared to family visas. So now let's have a look for other visas. So apart from skill or family visas, they also announced additional 11,000 quotas allocated to the working holiday visa programs, including 417 and 462 subclasses. So if you are looking to work and enjoy some holiday in Australia, this is a good news, because for some country, they have specified amount of quotas allocated per year. So we can expect for some nationalities from some countries, you might be easier to get a allocation for the work and holiday visa or working holiday visas. So this is the other updates for other visas. And now let's move on to skill visa to have a detailed look about what I feel about the new financial year. So for skill visas, for 189, the visa that received the highest increase for the next financial year, actually it contains different subclasses, which I will talk more about it later. So I will feel it will remain still very difficult compared to few years ago. In few years ago, as long as your occupation is on MLT SSL, as long as you have 60 or 65 points, you will receive the invitation. But I don't think it will happen for the next financial year, even they receive more quotas, because under the 189 visa, there will be 3 different streams. One is point test stream. The second one is New Zealand stream. Number 3 is for the Hong Kong stream. So all these 3 different streams, they share the same quotas. So, or what I can tell you, we can have a look at this financial year. So for this financial year, we have 6,500 quotas allocated for the 189 visa. But when you have a look at the point test stream, it is now issuing the invitation quarterly. So each quarter, DHA issues around 200 to 250 invitations. So for the whole year, it will be just around 1,000 to 1,200. So out of 6,500. So what we can expect is more allocations under the 189 visa will still be allocated to New Zealand stream or Hong Kong stream. So Hong Kong stream is the new stream under 189 visa, which was announced late last year. So this is for 189. But if you are looking for state nomination for visa subclass 190 or 491, I believe they will be kind of more accessible. They will have higher quotas, and probably they will lower the requirement to receive the nomination. But don't expect it will be too easy. You still need to meet certain language requirements or employment requirement before you can be eligible. But for the state nomination, each state or territory, they will announce it after 1st of July. Some state may announce it earlier, probably in middle of July or late July, but some state they may announce it later in September or October, depending on the state, okay? And for employment sponsor visas, it might be processed faster because they have additional quotas available, and we believe it might be kind of more flexible. And due to the recent announcement about some additional eligibility for the short-term occupation visa holders, we can expect more people applying for the employer-sponsored visas. If you have any question regarding one of these visa types, just feel free to type in the chat box, or you can feel free to contact us, contact SOL Edu Migration later on after tonight's migration show. And personally speaking, I'm still sure that the Department of Home Affairs or each state, they might still focus on the applicants with skills. So Australians is still looking for the skilled migrants. If you don't have good English, if you don't have good employment or working experience, it might still be very difficult for you to receive an invitation under the skill visas. So this is only my personal point of view. And for family visas, then actually for partner visas, the Department of Home Affairs actually plan to impose some English requirements and sponsorship requirements back in November last year. They're supposed to implement the changes in November last year, but they suspended. However, with the reduction of the quotas for partner visa, I personally expect they might impose the language condition as well as the sponsorship approval before application in the new financial year. So this is my prediction. So they will add the English requirement as well as you can't submit the visa application before the sponsorship has been approved. So this is what they plan already, but they haven't implemented yet. So this is my suggestion or prediction. They might implement the new changes in the new financial year, sometime after the new financial year. And due to the reduction of the quotas, so the partner visa processing time might take longer. So for this financial year, for the current financial year, what we witness is it has been processed very fast for the partner visa. Average is around 3 to 6 months for our clients that we can get the partner visa granted. But for the new financial year, the processing time might take longer due to the lower quotas of allocations. But for those who are looking for parent visa, we might expect the processing time might be shorter due to the additional quotas. So for family visas, just to clarify, because some of you might not understand why the parent visa need to wait for 5 years, 10 years to be processed, because this is what we call cap. So for Department of Home Affairs, they cap the visa grant numbers each year. So even you satisfy all the requirements for certain visas, you can't get it granted for this financial year because it has reached the limit of the visa grant numbers. So this is why the parent visa took so long to be granted. And I just put the current processing time here. So as at January 2022, the contributory parent visa application is processed up to June 2016. So it takes more than 5 years to be granted for the parent visa if you're doing the contributory one. But if you're doing the normal one, you don't pay additional fees, then it will take more than 10 years to be assessed. So this is the current processing time for parent visas. And now, moving to the advice part, I just want to give you some little tips or advice if you're planning to apply for skill visa in Australia in financial year 2022 to 2023. So only my advice. So first one, skill employment, extremely important. If you're looking at state nomination or territory nomination, you can see most of the states or territories, they require you to have employment. So skill employment is extremely important if you're looking for skilled visas. And with certain years of skill employment, you can get extra points for your migration point test as well. So this is number one advice. If you can find a job in your nominated occupation, this is important. And if you're looking for employer nominations, this is also important because you need to satisfy certain years of working experience. So find a job related to your occupation. If you're not sure whether your job can satisfy the skill level, just feel free to contact us, then we can have a look at your details. Second one, regional might be easier because we have additional allocation for the regional schemes, for the regional visas, visa subclass 491 and visa subclass 494. So we can expect probably easier migration pathway for regional worker or regional graduates. And in Australia, just to give you some kind of recap, if you are studying in regional area in Australia, you will receive additional 1 to 2 years for your graduate visas. So there will be some benefits if you graduate from a regional university in Australia. So this is second one. Number 3 is about some recommendation for if you are choosing the course, you don't know what to study, and probably you can consider studying something related to health, just like nursing or medicine or physio or occupational therapies. This is kind of health related because we can see we are still living in the post-COVID environment. There will still be strong demand for the health experts, the health professionals. So if you would like to study, then you can consider studying those related to health. Secondly is for infrastructure. So because Australia will have Olympic Games in 2032, 10 years later, but we can't prepare everything in last minute. So this is a long-term project, and we can expect more infrastructure or projects to be held, especially in Brisbane, because Brisbane is the host city for the 2032 Olympic Games. So you might consider studying construction-related courses or civil engineering courses. And at the same time, we have strong demand for manufacturing professional as well. So you might consider doing the mechanical engineering or something related to manufacturing, okay? And teaching. So currently in Australia, we have strong demand for the early childhood teachers as well as secondary teachers. So if you plan to study, then you can consider studying teaching as well. And lastly is for hospitality, because due to COVID, our border has been shut for nearly 2 years, and then no incoming passengers or visitors. So there will be a strong need for hospitality professionals, such as chef, restaurant manager, hotel manager, or even cook. So this is for hospitality because previously most of the jobs have been kind of occupied by international students or temporary workers or working holiday visa holders. So for the previous 2 years, due to no incoming international students or working holiday visa holders, there will be a strong staff shortage in the hospitality industry. And for hospitality, then you might consider doing corporate course or hotel management course. So this is some recommendation if you're looking to study in Australia next year or next year. All right, so this is basically the summary of the financial budget for the new financial year. If you have any questions, just feel free to type in the chat box, and I will just give you some general information about applying for school or applying for visa by yourself or through a registered agent. So here at SOL Edu Migration, we are the registered education agent as well as the migration agent. So we are the official agent for more than 200 institutes in Australia, including universities, colleges, TAFEs, and early course English schools, as well as primary or high school. So if you would like to apply for a visa by yourself, what would be the risk? Because in Australia, as you might have heard, so the migration policy changes very easily. It may change next day, tomorrow, or a few months later. For us, as the registered migration agents, we are the members of some Migration Alliance or Migration Institute of Australia. So if there will be any updates for the migration policies or migration regulations, we can always receive the latest updates. So you might be eligible to apply for the visa today, but you might be not eligible for tomorrow. So this is one of the benefits of using a registered migration agent. Secondly, it's for the visa application, there will be a lot of legal terms that you might not understand. But for us, we study the migration course. We know what the department is asking. so we can reduce the risk of the incorrect information or incorrect answers. And number 3 is we keep monitoring our email address very frequently. If you're applying by yourself, because nowadays most of the visas you need to submit online, which means the Department of Home Affairs will communicate with you via email. So if you miss the request from them, then you might delay the process, or you may result in the visa refusal because you can't provide the response in time. So this is number 3. And number 4, as a registered migration agents, we deal with more than 300 clients per year. So we know lots of the different visa types, including student visa, graduate visas, skilled migrations, family visas, including parent visas or partner visas. So we know the procedure and the document checklist. But if you're applying by yourself, you might not understand the whole procedure. So this is the benefits of using a registered migration agent. And why SOL Edu Migration among so many education or migration agents in Australia? So first of all, we have a large team here. We have more than 50 staff speaking 9 different languages, including Mandarin, Cantonese, Korean, Japanese, Vietnamese, Thai, Hindi, Portuguese, Spanish, and of course English. So we have a large team here, and sometimes we understand for visa application or for education application, it might be easier for you to talk to someone who can speak your native language. We understand, that's why we have a large team here to support you in your native language. And we have 5 migration agents here in the team, and each year we process more than 300 different type of visa applications, and we have more than 99% successful rate for the visa applications. And now I will move on to Q&A. Let me have a look for the first question. I'm a business or data and analyst, and my skill will be ICT business and analyst. I want to ask which visa will be better for me for 189 or 190 in next financial year. So thank you, Space Darshan. So actually, for 189 for the skill independent visa, so if you have minimum 65 points for the migration point test, you have passed the skill assessment, you have at least competent level of English, and you age less than 45, then you can submit the expression of interest. So after submitting the expression of interest, the Department of Home Affairs, they will do the Quota invitation rounds. If they think they need the professionals in this area, in this industry, and then they might select you based on your points. So they only consider points and occupations. So this is for 189 visas. But as I mentioned earlier, I don't expect there will be it will be super easy for the new financial year, even they increase the quotas. But of course, you can always submit the EOI if you satisfy all the requirements I just mentioned. And let's see and wait until they select you. For 190, for state nomination, it will depend on which state or territory you would like to apply for, because we don't know the state nomination policy yet for the new financial year. So they will gradually announce it after 1st of July. So let's keep updated. Let's stay tuned. If any state or territory they announce the new financial year requirements for what type of occupation they want, what will be the employment requirements, or what will be the point test requirements, then I will do the video and then upload it on our YouTube channel. So stay tuned. But honestly, based on this financial year experience, I would say try for 190. Don't put too much hope for the 189. 189 is very difficult and challenging, because for this financial year, they are only inviting those related to health and some engineers, not all. So even for registered nurse, they don't invite a lot. So they invited some for the medical practitioner and some of the medical laboratory scientists and some for mechanical engineer, but very competitive and very challenging for 189 visas. And probably I can share our social media platforms, our office address, as well as my email address. So if you have any question you would like to discuss, just feel free to contact us with one of these mentioned contact methods. You can contact us via email. You can contact us if you are living in Brisbane. Just walk into our office, but better to make an appointment with us first. And then, or you can just comment in our YouTube videos, or you can send us a messenger, or you can send us an inbox message via Instagram. So this is our social media platforms, as well as our email address and our physical address. So let's see if we have more questions. I have 85 points overall till now and more than full-time 1 year of working experience as BA. Do you think with this level 190 will be good to go? Sorry, Space Station, can you tell me which state or territory you are living in and working in now? Because each state or territory, they have their own requirements, and some of states, they are nearly full of all the quotas. So please let me know which state or territory you are living and working in, then I will kind of analyze your case. If you are in Queensland, then I would say it will be very competitive, because for this financial year, for Queensland, the 190 quota has just been increased from 1,000 to 1,180, but compared to other states, it was very small amounts of allocations for the 190 quotas. Yes, yeah, for Brisbane, you're living in Brisbane. So basically, it is very difficult and challenging, I would say, because we just received email from Migration Queensland earlier last month. They said they reached the quotas for 190 visa. That's why they approached the federal government to request additional quotas for 190 visa. And the good thing is they have received additional 180 quotas, but it's still very small amounts. So I would say probably it will be very challenging to receive 190 invitation for this financial year. But of course, let's see and wait for next financial year and see whether we will have more allocations for Queensland. And then just keep watching our YouTube videos. And then I normally will do the YouTube live twice a month. Then if we have any updates for state nomination or 189 visas, we will upload on our YouTube channels. Okay, so probably I will wait for 2 more minutes before we finish tonight's live show. So probably I will talk more about Queensland state nomination, because some of the audience might living and working in Queensland. So for this financial year, so far we have received 17 190 invitations, which is a very good number. So we received invitations for registered nurse, NEC. We received invitation for chef. We received invitation for motor mechanic. We received invitation for secondary teacher. We received invitation for early childhood teacher. We also received invitation for an analyst programmer, another IT occupation. And very one special invitation is for marketing specialists. The reason why I say very special is for this financial year or for last financial year, Migration Queensland is majority of the invitation is selecting those in critical sector, in health sector, in IT related, in engineering related, so or in teaching. So that's why we feel like marketing specialist is quite special. It seems not that critical from my point of view, but we received one invitation for 190 visa for the marketing specialist. Thank you, Space Darshan. Okay, so all right, so if you have any further questions, just feel free to contact us via different social media platforms or email me, or just visit our office in Brisbane City. I will see you in 2 weeks' time. See you.